partners to our latest edition of In the Hot Seat. It's our series of panel discussions focusing on how technology is solving today's problems. I'm Kyle DeWitt, Vice President of Technical Services here at ScanSource, and these panel discussions are part of ScanSource's Discover Opportunity Initiative, which are intended to help you, our partners, find more opportunities within certain highlighted vertical markets. Today, I'm being joined by two of our industry experts who are going to help us discover opportunities for your customers in the retail space. And our goal today is to try to identify some of the trends we're seeing, where purchasing decisions are being made in retail, and what the technology is behind those trends. So let's start by meeting our panelists. Tim, I will start with you today. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and your role at Zebra.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, I'm Tim Kane, and my role at Zebra is as a retail industry principal for Zebra's North American retail business. In that role, I take a look at what's happening from a high-level trends perspective that's impacting our customers and partners, and how we can look at those trends and understand where there may be some solutions that we can offer to our customers and partners. So I spent a lot of time really understanding the major trends impacting the industry.
Great. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. And John.
Yes, I'm glad to be back. My name is John Paddock. I'm a distribution account manager for Cisco Meraki. I work with ScanSource and happy to be back here. I primarily focus on Meraki solutions and how they can enable different customer sets, and glad to be having this conversation today because there's a lot we do for retail.
Yeah, John's a two-time veteran, I guess, if you can be a veteran after two times of In the Hot Seat panels. And the last time we talked about mobility, but with a retail focus, I think. So glad to have you back. And Tim, I'm glad to have you joining us here. So John, I'll stay with you as we just kick this thing off. Let's talk about what the trends are that you're seeing that technology is being deployed to enable or solve in retail.
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a few. I mean, retail is back, but it is forever changed. And the network has become more essential than ever for the modern retailer. Now, three trends that we see in particular on the Meraki side are in security and SD-WAN. And part of this is just what we've seen as an uptick in malware, malicious attacks across the board. Even small retailers are targets for this now. So being able to share data easily between those locations is something we do, and it's a huge trend in retail. Another trend is just our third-party marketplace, where we're seeing things like our wireless access points go from being a nice-to-have guest Wi-Fi, or just simply wireless internet access, so that the computer in the back can get on the internet, or the point-of-sale devices can get internet. The third-party APIs that we're overlaying are offering guest experiences. Rather than just access to the internet, allowing the retailers themselves to collect a treasure trove of data that's really helpful to them. And then the last piece is security. On the Meraki side, we run an IoT department, and perhaps no other vertical than retail are we seeing traction like we are. This is an area where we can use the smart cameras to do some pretty robust analytics, not only for loss prevention, but analyzing spillage, analyzing where customer motions are. And throughout the pandemic, when stores were able to open, analyzing things like social distancing and mask compliance. So those are the three areas on the Meraki side at the network level that we've seen some pretty dramatic trends in the way retail's coming back.
Yep. Tim, how about you guys at Zebra?
Well, the trends we're seeing are a little bit higher level. We're looking at, in the retail space, the labor market, how labor is impacting our customers and forcing them to do things that they hadn't had to do in the past. And technology is becoming a great enabler for many of our customers in that space. Then the other area is fulfillment. We have expectations from customers, from the consumers, where they expect to be able to buy anything they want from their couch and have it delivered to their couch within a day. And right now, if you look outside in the grocery space, outside of the US and the UK, they're offering 10-minute fulfillment. So it's, fulfillment is driving. And then the third one that we're seeing, which is having a tremendous impact across retail and across other industries as well is the whole supply chain. So the supply chain is broken, and the experts are telling us that it's going to remain broken probably well into 2023. And the importance of this again is, knowing that you're going to have a hard time getting product. How do you make sure that the product that you get is going to be available to your customers as quickly as possible? So once again, technology is beginning to play a big part in that. And one of the technologies that we're starting to see really explode on the scene right now is RFID, because RFID allows you to track products and have a better understanding of your inventory position, also have a better understanding of the product position. So we're seeing a lot of that being implemented right now. And I think I can honestly say that RFID is finally here. I can remember when it was announced and it was going to be, the panacea, it was going to be ubiquitous. Well, it's not quite ubiquitous, but it is here, and I believe it's here to stay. So those are the three trends that we're seeing impact our customers.
Yeah, I want to stay there too on RFID, but you brought up the expectation of today's consumer to buy anything from their couch and have it delivered to their couch. That's cars, that's groceries, it's consumables, it's perishables, it's everything. Right. And that really, I guess we started to attribute that commerce motion to the 08-09 recession, when people just really moved to e-commerce and that expectation. But I think this is a generational thing. It's a technology thing. It's the way people want to consume goods now. So I'm with you both. And John, we talked about this before, but the amount of technology that goes into enabling that experience is a tremendous opportunity for our partners, not only the ones that sell IT, that sell technology, but also the ones that sell marketing, because you have to have a brand and you have to have a customer experience, and people give up on apps within the first experience with the app if it's not fluid and they don't have a good experience. So anyway, I think some of this immediate gratification is starting to erode brand loyalty, which is another sort of concern in the market. But so Tim, I want to go back to the RFID comment that you made earlier. So we've seen Walmart announce that they're recommitting to RFID. They like you said, there's been starts and stops in this technology, but they're now expanding the products that they're going to carry in their stores that are required to be tagged from their supplier. So you mentioned it's been around a while. How mature is that technology, and is it easy to deploy? What types of consumers are starting to look at RFID?
So I think the technology is very mature, and I think the technology is pretty easy to deploy. The area that continues to be the challenge for the retailers especially is the tagging. The idea of how do I get the RFID tag onto the product. But what we're starting to see in that area, and congratulations to Walmart for sticking with this initiative and really forcing it, because they've helped the industry tremendously. So what's happening today, if you're in the specialty retail space, most of the manufacturers of clothing put RFID tags on there. So you have the Levi's, VF, Adidas, Nike, and so on and so forth that are already tagging. So you have the products arriving at your store with tags on them. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't make up the entire product set that you have. So there may be some tagging required on your side. But what we're starting to see is the retailers who are embracing it, not necessarily embracing it across the store, but embracing it in different departments or different categories. And one that has been embraced pretty well, and I think has been maybe the leader, was shoes. The fact that, the shoe manufacturers put RFID tags in there pretty easily, not easily, put in there a while ago. So that's a category that you can use the technology to deploy it. The Walmart initiative, I think they're going into electronics and they're going into small appliances and things like that. So that's going to increase the prevalence of RFID across more categories, which is going to be great for everybody. But the technology is there and it works. And if you scan an RFID tag with an RFID gun, it's going to give you a good scan.
Yeah, and if I remember reading it correctly, that's where Walmart started, was apparel and footwear.
Yeah.
And like you said, now they're years later starting to require it on the small appliances. John, I don't know if the RFID space is in your wheelhouse, but I know it's different, so nobody troll me later. But you mentioned IoT earlier, and just the amount of devices that are hitting networks now in order to provide a good experience, shopping experience, is tremendous. So are you seeing people starting to talk more about 5G and saturated networks and all this stuff?
Yes, admittedly, I'm a network geek, so I have that bias in my perspective. Yeah. But our side is, hey, RFID has grown in prevalence with the availability of the networking backbone that is allowed for it. I know that some of the first deployments we saw in this type of technology were in some high density, high cost environments like hospitals, where they were tracking medical personnel moving through the hospitals. This technology and the density and so much of the Wi-Fi 6 access points has become so ubiquitous that it's now affordable to do at scale in a retail department. You might be able to get a cheap RFID, but if you don't have the access points that can make sure that the density of all those RFID scanners, everyone who's using one of those is able to operate, then you're not going to be able to do that deployment. So anytime we see someone switch to RFID, we go, great. Let's get a high density wireless network in there that's going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, and
John, I don't think that can be stressed enough, because if you look at the development of technology and the importance of the network infrastructure to that development, you just go back even 5 years and you can see the tremendous advantages and the tremendous experience that have been deployed just because of the network technology. So that continues to be crucial to the development of technology going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's a graph out there that shows a correlation between Zebra's growth and Meraki's wireless growth, because they really do go hand in hand.
So we talked about RFID, we talked about networking organically there. So Tim, you mentioned earlier, supply chain is broken. A very scary statement for us three in what we do. So are there ways that our partners can help future-proof their own supply chain? What types of measures are they taking to ensure that they've got product to sell?
There are a few things that are happening. I know on the Zebra side, one of the things that we're doing is, because we rely so much on our supply chain and much of our supply chain is offshore, we're shipping everything by air. So where we used to ship over the seas, we're shipping everything by air. Now, what that does is, of course, it adds cost. And that's an area where we really have to focus. And I think that's an area where our partners can focus and sharpen your forecasting, so that as you're forecasting, you have a better understanding of what it is that you really need. And I know we're perhaps getting away from some of the solutions, but that's one thing to consider. And then the other thing to consider is really getting out there quickly with your customers and having conversations with them early on about what the realistic expectations are, so that they can really plan their projects in a timely fashion, and you can supply them with the products and solutions they need.
Yeah. John, how about you? You guys seeing any forward-looking statements here on how partners are able to shorten that manufacturing to point of sale?
No, unless they happen to know a semiconductor manufacturer that'd be fantastic. I will say that within the Meraki organization, we're unique in Cisco in that, because we were an acquisition and we're still a fairly autonomous subsidiary, we do have an independent inventory, ordering, and supply chain from broader Cisco. So it does put us in some unique positions where we can be a little bit more nimble on our supply chain. So a lot of what we talk about to the partner community on the Meraki side is that if they are waiting on some Cisco gears, there are some, as we know across the board, some pretty daunting lead times out there for some orders that are placed today, sometimes in excess of 40 or 50 weeks, there are often Meraki alternatives to a lot of that gear that is shipping within maybe 2 to 4 months. So we've really prioritized in a lot of what we do to make sure that we have predictability in our supply chain, which sometimes means going to brutal first come, first serve ordering, and sometimes means just making sure that we give honest updates every chance we get.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the time from both of you today. I think we could have recorded this when we recorded one earlier. John, I think the trends were very similar. They're now coming to life. John, you're in the office. I'm in the office. Tim's in a virtual office, but we're starting to see things, return to the new normal, and doors are opening. As somebody said earlier, mask mandates are coming off. So, I mean, people are starting to get back out there. And for our partners, we know, yes, you're experiencing the supply chain concerns that we've been outlining, but to John's point, and I know Tim also has similar resources, ScanSource has a whole engineering team that we can help you decide what the right product is. So if you are experiencing issues with getting the product that you initially talked to your partner about, leverage one of your engineering resources to see if we can't get you something faster. So I know Cisco, Zebra both have engineering teams that will focus or help you with that. Like I said, as does ScanSource. So in wrapping up, I'll just again say thank you, John, and thank you, Tim, for joining me today. Partners, we hope that you find these helpful. We have a whole series of them on other verticals as well. To see the charts that John referenced earlier, infographics, blogs, all kinds of other stuff on what's happening in retail. Make sure you check out the retail landing page at www.scansource.com/retail. And with that, I will sign us off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. Great conversation.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.